Morning, everybody. Morning, everybody. Let's try that again. Morning, everybody. So we haven't talked Apple Vision Pro just yet. Let's get the dates right out. Let's get the. Well, let's do this over again. We're live here, just getting going. Sorry, guys, just repositioning cameras a little. Okay. Morning, everybody. So we haven't talked much about Apple Vision Pro just yet. Let's get the dates out of the way. Pre-orders start this Friday, January 19th, 5 a.m. Pacific time. So they're going to be getting us up pretty early for those who are going to get those pre-orders in. If you're one of those people, please leave a comment down below. Let me know if you're pre-ordering and your thoughts on this whole new category. All right, so for people that don't know, let's dive in. What is Apple Vision Pro? It's Apple's first augmented and virtual reality headset, right? So it's AR and VR. But they're calling it, Apple is coining the phrase spatial computing. And this is supposed to blend the digital content with the physical world. Again, AR, right? And the big thing with them too is being able to trim and turn from VR to AR and anywhere in between. Now, they call this experiences, right? Reality experiences. It's through a set of something that looks like ski goggles. They have a light seal to not let any light in. They have audio straps with spatial audio. They have micro LED displays, 2 of them that are 4K in each eye. So they'll be able to do really good 3D later on. But so what's my take on this? So number one, Apple has been developing this for about 10 years now. And from what we've heard, they've been sinking about $2 billion a year into this. So over 10 years, that adds up to a lot of money. So I don't think it's a typical Apple TV launch or something. It's not going to be something that little. They're looking at it as something that's going to change the space. Apple has never really been one to do something new. They always look at what other companies are doing and the problems that they're having, and they develop things to fix those problems, right? Let's not just make a phone to make a phone, but we see this problem with phones out there, so let's develop something to fix that. So VR is not something new. With that being said, most people that look at VR look at it in the terms of video games, right? AAA video games. I want to do Call of Duty and put a headset on and be fully immersive. And that's where VR has gone to this point, right? You have PlayStation VR goggles, you got the Quest, you got, Oculus, you got all these VR headsets. This headset, I don't believe was, again, everything I'm saying here is my own spin, my own take on what Apple's doing. And I may be wrong, and please let me know in the comments. But my take is Apple is not going after VR. They're going after AR, which is something I've been more excited about over the years. VR, I feel, is very secluded. You're by yourself. You're in a closed environment with no other people or, avatars of other people. Whereas AR, you're bringing the outside world into your world, right? You're in a room, you still see your room, you bring your friends into your room. You're not recreating a new room and hanging out in a new room. Again, let's break this down a little more, right? So we got the VR, which, you know, you're by yourself in a given environment. AR, you're in your environment and you're bringing the world into you. VR was geared more towards gaming to this point. You know, there's been some other little aspects of things, but AR is, you know, you bring the world into you, and I feel like there's so many more things to do. Microsoft has been doing a lot of good stuff with their HoloLens over the couple of years, and I've been surprised at that. But things like, you know, think of a doctor being able to, you know, look at a table in their doctor's office and see someone laying there and being able to practice operating there, right? You could take that a step further, right? Now they're actually 3D printing organs. So think of them actually 3D printing an organ on the table and then putting on a headset that'll help them step through suturing something or where to cut something open and actually feel that how those cuts are, because you have parts that are 3D printed that feel like, you know, a stomach or skin. But you have the goggles on that are helping you, okay, put the stitches in here, you know, cut diagonally this way, actually helping you and giving you steps along the lines. Those are things that make me very excited. I see the world one day. These headsets are big, right? So this is only version 1. This is not for everyone to run out there and grab and try, right? But eventually, you know, my hope is they get as small as, you know, the Google lenses that they used to have, even though those were total different technology. Those were laying things up on top. But if we could get to a world like that we don't need screens anywhere, you could put a screen up wherever you want. I mean, a house with no TVs, no monitors. I think that's a pretty cool idea. So as of right now, with these Apple Vision Pro, one thing that sets it apart from everyone else doing it, again, it's not the one product, as with most of Apple products, and I feel like an Apple fanboy here, and some might say so, but it is that ecosystem, right? The fact that Apple is creating the OSs, the software, and now the chips, right? The CPU chips, the GPU chips, AI chips now, wrapping them all together so they get faster memory and everything. So the fact that they have this whole ecosystem brings some seamless things. So one of the things they demoed in some of their videos were being able to walk up to a desk that has a Mac computer, and with just a tap, with your headset on, it pulls up a monitor to that computer. So think of going to work, no monitor being there, you just going and sitting at that desk, and now you have full access to that computer, right? We've been doing stuff like that for a while, right? Remote desktop into machines and whatnot. So that's pretty much what it is. But the fact that Apple is able to seamlessly integrate all this without the need of extra software, extra hardware. So I could go to my office, sit there and pop up a screen to my computer, do some work, and then go upstairs to my son's room and sit in front of his computer and open up his desktop and help him with work there. That seamless stuff is only going to be able to be done by a company that is developing all sides of the ecosystem. And this is where Apple is shining, but this is also where people outside of Apple miss the ball, because they don't have multiple Apple products to really experience what the ecosystem is. And with anything, some things are really good and some things are lacking. Siri is lacking, right? However, they've been doing a really, really big push the past year behind the scenes on Siri and their own version of AI like ChatGPT. Think of ChatGPT built into Apple, but with Apple's resources. But we haven't heard much about that yet. So moving on. The other thing I would say too is don't look at Apple Vision as another VR headset. It is AR to its core. They're saying VR, and this environment thing, but I don't think that environment is really VR because it's not scanning the room. It's not doing any of that. It's just kind of blackening out the world and putting something else there. So you're not getting full scans of the room and knowing where you are like you are with other VR headsets. It's an AR headset that has some really cool features that no one else is doing. With that being said, it is priced really high at almost $3,500. And I think it comes like 256 gigs storage. And they're talking that there's only going to be about 60,000 units made in the first batch. So it may be a high demand. I'm a little confused at this. In previous years, when they've released new devices like this or similar, they've always released it to developers first. They had an option to buy in and get it, at a decent price, so that they could start developing apps. So my fear is there's not going to be that many spatial apps in the App Store that are made for spatial. Yes, all the apps will be able to run 2D in that spatial space, but not making use of the spatial environment. Because developers just haven't had them in their hands for that long. We've had the Xcode development kits, and that's fine to a point, but if you can't test something on the device, you don't really know how it's going to react, right? So pre-orders again was the 19th at 5 a.m. and the actual delivery date and launch date's February 2nd. So February 2nd, I would imagine, will be when developers are finally getting to test their software on a real hard piece of hardware. And me personally, I found tons of bugs, where I thought things would run perfectly using Xcode and then tried to run it on the device and stuff has popped up. So I don't want to say my fear is, my thought is people that have been developing this far are going to run it on their device, and it's still going to be another week or two before they submit it to the App Store because they're fixing bugs. So maybe by the end of February, we'll start seeing some decent apps popping out that people are working fast towards. But again, this is not for the lighthearted. It's a $3,500 device. It's a first gen. I really wouldn't advise many people to get it who are not developing for it or thinking about how to use this in their business workflow, right? If you're in the motion picture industry or whatever, and you're trying to feel out on what can be done, then it might be a good thing for you to get and follow along and see what you can do, see what developers are doing. But as a consumer, I feel like it's a hard buy unless you really just have money laying around. And even then, they're only making so many units out the gate. I really feel like they should have pushed this to developers first. I don't understand why. If anyone knows why, please let me know, educate me, leave me a comment down below. But it's something that's tugging at me why they did it this way. Also, there was no real big announcement when they pushed the pre-orders live. Again, we're pushing into a new category. We heard 7 months ago about it coming. without a date. We just heard, early 2024, which this is very early. This is January. But it was kind of lackluster that it didn't come out. In my head, I was speculating maybe they're trying to push it out fast because there's a cheaper one on the way. But the rumor mill has been buzzing lately. I don't know what I believe, but what they're saying is there's notes in the Xcode and stuff for other versions, but basically people are saying 2025 for a newer version, which I didn't think they were going to upgrade that quickly. I figured we'll get cheaper versions, which they are saying a cheaper version for 2025. Here's another thing. I feel like Apple is doing this right. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very expensive, but I feel like this is the way it probably should be done, right? If you compare it to things like, the Oculus Go and all these other products, sub $1,500. Apple's product is a lot of money. It's $3,500. But if you look at the hardware in it, royally the hardware, and you factor the prices of all that hardware, you are getting your money's worth. I mean, I don't even feel like Apple is making any money on this first set of hardware. I feel like, if anything, they could be losing. But I feel like you are getting your money's worth when it comes to the hardware. That $3,500 is purely hardware. That's what it costs to make. And again, I don't feel like Apple is making, if anything, on this round. And if you compare that to, let's say, an Oculus or a Meta, where it's, $500, $600, you could feel those products. They might feel like they're made okay, but again, they're $500, $600 worth of hardware, and then they're trying to make something off of it. So I feel like there is some money to be made on them. So maybe out of a $500 headset, maybe it's $400 of hardware. That's still a big difference. That's almost $3,000 more of $3,000 worth of hardware more that the Apple headset has on it. Whether it's needed or not, that's when I'm spinning this back around to Apple, saying, like, what can we do with this, right? Every product Apple's come out with, it's a great idea, but it's more, what can the developers do with it, right? What are we not thinking of? What's the need out there? And I feel like that was this. Let's throw everything we can and make a very solid headset with all these extra features, right? Do we need all these cameras? Do we need all these sensors? Do we, probably not. But let's put them there and see what developers do with them, right? And the way I feel is, they'll go to a cheaper version later. Maybe they'll be like, okay, developers are not using all the cameras. They're only using half. Let's remove half of them. Maybe the eyes that they have on the front that people could see them. Maybe that's a novelty. Maybe we'll keep that in the Pro version and remove that in the cheaper version. That's one less screen, less money, right? And I think they would move from there. So I think it was, let's throw all the bells and whistles. Let's see what developers can come up with, and what they could do with it. I mean, the eye tracking alone. So for those that don't know, when you put the goggle headset on, there's sensors on the inside that actually track where your eye's looking and pinpointing to the exact T. And that's how it knows. And that's how it knows where you're looking on the screen. And then when you tap your fingers together, it'll act like a mouse clicking the screen, right? So moving the mouse around your desktop, you're doing that with your eyeballs, right? It knows exactly where you're looking at. There's no cursor on the screen, no nothing. It just knows where you're looking at. If you're looking at an icon on the screen and tap your fingers together, it will click that icon. So technology like that is really, really groundbreaking. if you ask me, if it works that good. There's a lot going on in this. The spatial audio, again, they've been working on this for 10 years. And Apple, I keep pushing this, is about the ecosystem. So even though they're doing R&D for the headset, or let's say the Apple AirPod Maxes, we got spatial in those and the AirPods. They're taking that same technology that they threw all this money in and putting it into other things. It's not a one and done device. They're using technology across the board, across their whole ecosystem. Their HomePods, their Siri speakers, them having the pinpoint microphones that, are bouncing audio across the walls and everything, and it could sense where everything's going, so it could figure out the room. It'd be nice to think that that kind of technology is inside the headset, inside the Vision Pro, which they say the spatial audio does map the room. So I'm interested to see how that goes, right? So the idea is you get that Dolby type feeling because it's able to map out the room and give you the tones where you need the tones. So I have been very excited about the Apple Vision Pro for a while now. There's quite a few things I've been thinking about developing for, which I may dabble in, see how it goes. But I'm interested to see where this goes. It is a first gen. It's not made for everybody. If you're a developer, it's probably, you probably should dive into it. Some developers might not even want to make for it, but again, as the generations go out and the prices come down and the size comes down, one of the biggest problems they had was the weight on top of your head, right? With all of these headsets, and battery life. That's my one concern is seeing how the battery, Apple's always been good with saying how much battery life and getting exactly what they say, right? So they're saying if you're just watching like a 2D movie, you get 2.5 hours out of it. If you're doing anything else, you get 2 hours out of it. And like I was saying, the weight thing, so what they did was take the battery out of the headset, put it on a cable so you could put it in your pocket. The idea is so you don't have that extra weight on your head. I'll be interested to see too if there's other versions of these batteries that come out, battery packs. Maybe there'll be larger ones. I know there's a USB-C on it for charging. I don't know if there's pass-through charging. Could you put a battery pack and plug that into that charger and then use it and get more than 2 hours out of it? Again, I haven't seen an AC plug, but the way their adapter connects to the headset, I could see a magnetic thing go on there and then a plug for when you're sitting down at a desk or something. It'd be interesting to see what people come out with and how people use this. I'm personally excited about it. And the other thing too is I was pointing out with the differences of headsets. So here's another thing to take in. PlayStation, Quest, Oculus, or I should say PlayStation, Oculus, they're geared towards VR for the gaming side, right? They're focused on gaming. And for good or bad, that's what they're doing. I don't think that market has hit yet. I don't know if it's going to, but some interesting facts that I learned not too long ago too. Whenever people talk about gaming on a Mac, and we're changing subjects here, sorry guys, but this is alive and my thoughts. I like gaming, of course. I don't game that much nowadays. I just don't have a whole lot of time. Baldur's Gate 3 was the last thing that I was doing. But yeah, so what I was going to say here, the gaming market, if you look at the revenue from gaming over everything, right? AAA titles, mobile gaming, iPad, iPhone, all of them. you'll come to a realization that 80% of the revenue made in the gaming market as a whole is from mobile. So as much as people complain about gaming, if you look at it as a whole, desktop gaming is not there. It's only 30-40% of the market, if that. The majority of the money is in mobile. So if you're a developer following the money, they gear towards mobile. I mean, that's where their money is. With that being said, okay, so you got the console gaming, the PC gaming from VR through Oculus and PlayStation, and then you got VR from like Meta, right? Well, I know Meta bought Oculus, but I'm breaking it down. Meta is purely social, right? I mean, their standpoint is social, which they keep pushing, which I never understood because they don't include many social sharing aspects in their VR, which blows my mind. You figured everything in there would have shared a Facebook option, which doesn't. But either way, so the Meta should be more geared towards social. Apple's headset here is geared towards productivity, and that's why I think it's going to take off faster than anything else. It's about productivity. For the average person, how many times a week do you sit down and play a game on your computer? Not counting the hardcore gamers. The average person, once a week, twice a week, maybe. I don't know. Are you gonna put the headset on twice a week and spend that kind of money? Social. Okay. Are you going to put the headset on for social? People check their social a lot, right? Multiple times a day. But the kind of social that they're doing is more like, let's meet up with friends, right? Let's go to a social room. Let's watch a movie together. To me, that seems more like the Friday night date night, or the Friday night, let's meet up at the bar after work. So again, are you really only going to use it like once a week? And honestly, would you rather go in a headset and say hi to your friends, or go down to the local bar or axe throwing place or whatever it may be that you guys do or want to do that month? So again, you're not using it that much. Now, when you bring in productivity, I feel like you're going to use it more. There's more use case of you using it for work, for getting things done. Yes, the entertainment side of it, the watching movies, that's the same thing like VR and other headset. I feel like that don't really count. I think Apple's going to do it very well, very good, especially with their spatial audio and all that. I feel like it will be very immersive, but it's the productivity side that I'm excited about. What work can I get done in it? How will it make my everyday life quicker, faster? I'm a big person with multitasking. I always end up doing 5 or 6 things at one time, if not more. So will that increase my multitasking, my focusing, being able to have larger windows open around you? Being able to FaceTime, with large groups, and then still being, again, there's so many possibilities here. That blows my mind. But people don't think of productivity. They think of entertainment, video games, movies. And people have tried that and done that. And I don't think it's succeeded because people don't do it enough. I feel like that needs to be the extra thing. Okay, let's move on. We don't want this to be a super long live. But again, the pre-orders start the 19th at 5 a.m. They did say that you need to use the Apple Store app on a device that has face scan. And and I'll say that again, you need to use an Apple device, an iPhone, iPad that has face scan, right? The reason being is they're going to let you scan your face to find out the right fit for the cushioning. So you have the goggles that go on your face, and then behind the goggles, there's like a foam cushioning. They're calling that the light seal. So that light seal needs to fit perfectly and not let any light in. So you're gonna have to scan so it could choose the right one for you. I'm a little weary about this. They've never done anything like that before, and to do it on a launch day when there's limited quantities or something and so forth. I guess it's better than going into the store, which originally that's what they were saying, that you would have to pick it up in the store and have it fitted. I think it probably should have been smarter to let people set up the pre-order now, like you do for the early orders for the iPhone. You're able to say what color and blah, 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 blah. At least let you go in and be able to scan your face, get that into your account, and then make it one step easier to order that morning. Unless I'm totally wrong, maybe not many people are going to buy it. But this is 60,000 people, 60,000 devices in the United States. It's only being sold in the United States, to my understanding. But if you look at the sheer number of developers, yeah, of course, every developer is not going to get it, but the developers alone are probably going to, make a good chunk of that. And then you get the other people that just want to try them. You can set up a date to go into an Apple store and try one out. I heard it's like 20, 30 minutes to try it on because they have to fit you and put it on you and everything. So I think it's appointment only, but I could be wrong. Maybe they'll accept walk-ins at some point. But it is like a 20-minute plus trial because you have to get fitted and everything. I also know there's magnetic lens inserts that you could purchase for like $100 if you wear glasses. So you need those lens prescriptions with you when you make that order. It'll ask you for it, and I think Zeiss makes the lenses and the inserts. Well, honestly, I thought they would be a lot more money, probably like $300 or so, like I've seen for other devices. So that's pretty much the pre-order, 5 a.m. Delivery date, February 2nd. So February 2nd, we will be doing an unboxing live. So follow us. I will be posting a link on once I get my pre-order in the morning of, assuming I get the pre-order in. Again, I'm not special like some people that get them sent to them. Well, once I get my pre-order in, I will post a live date. And when our product comes, we'll unbox it and take a look at it together, get our first thoughts. So that would be February 2nd. Keep an eye open for the links and stuff for that. February 2nd, usually what I do is I'll put the date and I'll make it the time for later at night, but we'll go live whenever the product gets here. We'll usually throw like a 30 or 40 minute timer on, and when that timer runs out, that's when we'll go. So even though it might say 8, 9 o'clock at night, if it comes at 2 p.m., we'll go live at 2 p.m., give like a 30-minute timer. So February 2nd, just, keep an eye open for live. And again, it's YouTube. You don't have to be there live. Just catch it when you catch it. We also break down into smaller bits and push those bits out also. So you don't have to listen to the whole thing. We also re-edit the lives after and take out all the things not needed to make the video a little shorter and a little better. Pauses or installs or, some setups that just sit there for a little while. So the live is usually a lot longer, and then we'll cut it down after the fact. Again, I'm really excited about all this. We'll see where it goes. Yeah. if you have an iPhone 15, it might be iPhone 15 Pro. It might also be time to start taking some spatial video. So the new iPhones. Let's see if we get the camera right here. If you see, they have the lenses now, right next to each other. So now with spatial video, if you use these, you use a spatial video camera and take video. It's just like predators. Like we have two eyes in front of on our face. Those represent each eye. So recording spatial video now will give you the depth as like if you're really there when you're wearing these headsets. So it might be really cool to see how that pans out. So you have 2 or 3 weeks, start taking some spatial videos. This way you could check it out and see how it is. You could also share them. We're going to take a couple too, and we'll share some as well once the headset's out, and we'll see. All right, guys. In the meantime, if you have any other questions and I can help you, leave them in the comments. I'll answer them promptly. I, for one, will be one of those people at 5 a.m. Trying to place this order, as much as my bank account don't allow it. I personally think it's something I personally want to dive into and see where it leads. All right, guys. Till next time. Catch you later.